Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It is me, your old pal Orpheus, here with another edition of Red Dead Online. Yeah, that's right. Your old pal Orpheus on Orpheus Plays has decided to take a little bit of an old Western flair, take on a little bit of a Western persona here, and we're gonna do a little bit of mischief here in the old West. Welcome to my sitting room, apparently. I broke into someone's house, so we're here taking a look at their piano and their harp. This is apparently their music room. I don't know, whatever. I'm doing all sorts of plunder, but I'm dressed as a gentleman, so I figured I'd come in here and get a taste of the finer things before I go outside and murder everybody. All right, I hope you're doing well wherever you are right now, whether it's day or whether it's night like it is here in the game, and that's not really what it might necessarily be outside. The point is here that wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I welcome you here to our little community, and I think, you'll enjoy what's going on here. If you're here for the first time, hi, I'm Orpheus. I'm a former news and radio personality.
That's it then, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's not it. I'm pulling you off this horse, and I'm going to beat you. Oh, no, I guess I'll just steal your horse. My horse now. I'm a former radio host and news personality, or maybe the other way around, whatever. And I kind of went medically retired about a decade or so ago because the effects of my traumatic brain injury and autism and a few other things kind of got a little complicated for me to hold down a steady job and do a normal life like that. So for a while, I have done not a lot except for just kind of mess around in life. And now I've decided to start doing a little bit of gaming here on the YouTubes and share it with you guys. I hope you enjoy it. It's fun for me. So now that we got all that out of the way, oh good, I'm down here at the lake or the river or whatever this is. They'll never find me here. This is like in GTA when you go like in those little service corridors to the LA River. Oh, they'll never find me in here unless they do. No, but they're over there. Anyway, what is going on? They didn't let me move for just a second. Let's call in the horse. Call in our horse. Hello, I need my horse, but he won't come to me unless I'm like out on the street. So, let's start calling our horse and see who our lucky winner is today. Come on down. You're the horse of Orpheus Plays today. Where is he? Here he comes. Ah, it's Buff Drinklots. Yes, another name of David Ryder. Yeah, MST3K. Lots of really cool names from that one. And you'll actually see more of those as we go along. Anyway, yeah, another sweet day here in the Old West. Gonna try not to get TB. Try not to, get anything else horrible from anything. Like, it had to be an absolute nightmare to live back through these times, right? I mean, you could do it. I can do whatever I want. I'm a free man, and I'll probably die from infection just from, slipping on a rusty nail or something. Yeah. Oh, antibiotics? What are those? Like, I don't know. I'd rather have like my Keurig coffee maker and my tablet so I can find out the latest, price of crypto that I've got. Anyway, oh, chip. Oh, okay, there we go. Anyway, yeah, so all this old Western stuff made me think about like communication, right? So in this I think they have telegraph services, right? I don't know if it's to that point, but they do have power, right? So electricity's here. You would assume that they have telegraph systems, but like over the years they've had these whole different ways for you to like communicate. And okay, so as time goes on, things get faster, right? So you have the internet has made it so you can talk to somebody on Discord around the world, no lag at all. Like you guys can game together. You can play like Overwatch with 12 other people, or what is it now? 10 other people, 9 other people, and no lag. Well, I mean, most of the time. That's look, we all understand technical limitations occasionally, but you can do that, and it's no lag, and it's just amazing. Well, okay, so before the internet was the major carrier for things like this, and hold on while I do this. Let's see what kind. See, telegrams. Yes, we do have them in the game. Let's check out our daily challenges today. What is the general ones? Are kind of fun normally. Telegram missions. Yeah, look at that. Self-portraits taken. Oh, and I gotta boost my stats by tonics. Okay, I can do that. I can chug a couple of things here. Is this a tonic? It is. Ah, it's my medicine. No, don't worry. It's just my medicine. Let's have some more medicine real quick. As my horse takes a dump. Live on stream again. Thank you very much. Oh, I am slightly tipsy. What was some of the other things? But before the internet made everything that way, there was satellite, right? So satellite communication, like, they still sort of have it, but it's a way more advanced concept. Like news vans and news trucks will have a satellite dish on their roof. And now it's mostly cellular, right? You get 4G, 5G, wherever you are. We're another don't kill an animal. But then they like probably give me things to kill animals. Craft or cook at a wilderness camp. Oh, I can do that. Let's go out into the wilderness and we'll take care of that. But like they'd have these satellites on them, these dishes, and sometimes you'd have like a trailer that you would tow behind a truck. So like if it was like an event or something. So I covered a large-scale murder trial at one of the places that I lived and worked at, and it was like one of the local guys that was. Anyway, I won't give too many details away. I don't want to, get do the whole, like people find me thing. Although, whatever. It's 2023. You're going to find me if you want to anyway. But, so this is a local murder trial. The guy was kind of a local celebrity. And he ended up, well, anyway, the long and short of it is I was the person for the local news cluster, like the biggest radio station company that had like 6 stations or something. I was covering it for them. And so every single day, I would go to the courthouse after my shift on the air, and I would cover this thing. And the Court TV and all these other places were there, like ABC, NBC, and they have these satellite trucks. Big, huge dishes. Well, the problem is still kind of, you might see it even these days. Am I somewhere I can put down a wilderness camp? Come on, slow down. Hey, horse. Horse. Sure, you go every single time when I don't want you to, but or when I want you to, but now no. Okay, wilderness camp. But like all these places that have this giant satellite truck, and they would beam out the signal, and so you see this phenomenon these days too. Let me do a little crafting here. The people will be talking. So you got like the talking heads, like almost like the Brady Bunch. That on the screen, there's more than one head that's there. And so you'll see one of them, like the person who's in the studio saying, oh, and so, we've got this expert commentator in who's going to give us this opinion or whatever on whatever, right? And then they'll ask, and this is also a thing that you see with like news reporters out in the field. It's especially funny when it happens to like the Weather Channel, so that they'll be reporting on a hurricane, and the person in the studio will go, oh, we've got Bob out in the field that's reporting on the horrible hurricane. Bob, how are things looking out there? And then there's that, you see the reporter, he's got his hand over his face, over his ear, right? And then goes, just waits for a second. And you see them like looking around, like their eyes are darting back and forth, and they got the microphone up, and then after about 4 or 5 seconds, they're like, yeah, I'm here out in the field. It's a bad hurricane. We're looking at gale force wind, that kind of thing, right? Okay, so that's built in to the system, because a lot of places are just using satellites in order to do that instead of cellular service, because it's cheaper to use the satellite service for bulk stuff, right? And so what you'll see is those places. Can I cook some good meat there? Minty big game. Okay, we'll do that. We'll cook a little bit of oregano. You see a lot of places that have that because it's just more efficient, right? You just have a satellite on the top of a van. It's a lot of the times it's not reliant necessarily on the local power system. So you got power in the van, you got power to the satellite, unless something horrible happens, like geostorm or whatever. And then you got, hopefully, power back at the station where, like, if they need to, you have a generator or something. So it's a closed-loop system, makes it a lot easier. But one of the trade-offs is you have to just deal with that delay and that lag. So where am I going with this? Okay. So for this murder trial, I had been there quite literally every single day of the trial for 2.5 months or something like that. And it was coming down, towards the closing arguments and everything. So just to the point where both sides are doing their last little, oh, I think he's guilty because of this. I think he's innocent because of this. And I'm not going to go into whether he was guilty or innocent because as a news reporter, I stay impartial, but I do have a definite thought. And I've seen they've re-documentaried, if that's even a word. They've done documentaries about it since then, like a revisit of it, a couple decades later, whatever. And they're like, is this person really guilty? We don't know. We talked to several different people and maybe, just maybe. It's like, all right, no. As someone that sat in the courtroom every single day and watched this person and all the evidence, first of all, in a documentary, unless it's 75 fucking hours long, oops, I swore. Hey, future Orpheus, take that out. Let's put a little beep here. Okay. Unless you're in the courtroom and that documentary is 75 hours long, you're not going to get the whole story, okay? Like, you are not going to get everything that you need in order to figure out whether, the person's innocent or guilty. And that, again, is the job of the jury. Now, hopefully they're paying attention. Anyway, I digress. So, I've been covering this court trial every single day for months and months. I'm going to do a collector map. Let's do alcohol. Go find some alcohol. I'm trendy. I'm with all the hip new stuff like that. So one day I was doing my reporting and I started to get these phone calls from different places around the country. So it started at like ABC out of New York City and like NBC out of LA and like CBS out of Chicago and stuff like that. And there's like, oh, well, this is the person that's, is now the local expert on this trial, right? So suddenly I'm like, I'm sitting in my studio and I just finished my shift on the air and they go, oh, you got a call on line 2 or whatever. Hey, this is whatever morning show in New York or whatever it is, or LA, and we've got a question about the trial. And it's like, okay, and I'd start answering questions, and I'm like, why am I I guess, yeah, technically, I spent a lot of time covering the trial, so yeah, I was pretty good at it, okay, but I'm like, I guess I'm an expert. No. I hear wild wolves. No, you stay away from me. Bad wolves. And so I started getting those, and it's this really bizarre thing. Like, suddenly you have news programs calling you and saying, like, what do you think about this? How does this affect the local population? Everything's like, okay, well, here's what's going on. So that was kind of cool. I was doing that for a couple weeks on and off. And then I get this phone call as I do my... Is he a swimming horse? Swimming horse. I get this phone call from Court TV. Oh no, is that a snake? Snake. No, it's an alligator. Hello, Mr. Alligator. No, horse, don't go over there. I guess I'm going to use the shotgun on Mr. Alligator. Hello, Mr. Alligator. How are you? It's good to see you. Bye-bye. Anyway, so I get a phone call from Court TV one day. And it was for one of their programs. I'm not going to necessarily go into what program it was because it's not one that I think they might have brought it back as like an ironic retro thing. But I'll say that it was hosted by a guy. That's all I'm going to say. But it was like, again, Court TV, so he's covering something. And then I was on that, and that wasn't so bad. Oh, what do you think about the trial? What are the new developments? What is the local, what do they think about this guy here in town? And the general questions that you always get. And then I got called by a personality named Nancy Diamond. I think that's her name. That sounds right. If it isn't, whatever. It's Nancy Diamond. She was on Court TV. I think she still is. She's kind of known now for being a little bit more like, in your face, right? But so she had this program, and same thing. Court TV calls me up, and they're like, would you like to be the expert commentator for this? And I'm like, I mean, I guess, right? I feel another thing. Yay, it's over here. And so they're like, okay, well, it'll be this day, so-and-so, and from this time to this time, and, we'll get you on there. It'll be like a 20-minute interview. Again, it's going to be, they were like, it's going to be a multi-person thing. So the Brady Bunch format, just a lot of different talking heads on squares, right, on your screen. And so there were people that were going to be different viewpoints than mine, and, someone that were supporting it, and then Nancy Diamond in the studio. And so I'm waiting to get on and do this. So it's like, commercial breaks and stuff. Oh my God, these are so far away. Emerald Ranch? Yeah, we'll go to Emerald Ranch. And for some reason, my horse GPS went away about a week ago, and I can't figure out where it went. No, when was that? It was a while ago. Anyway, it's a problem I'm going to fix later. I'm not worried about it. And so I'm waiting to go on, and you get to watch. It's so weird being on waiting to go on a TV show, because especially like a live one, right? Because you see the show coming up, and you see like the host going, and then coming up next we're going to be talking to Orpheus from W blah blah blah, and they'll be telling us about whatever. And so you're sitting there, you watch it on the monitor, and you're like, oh, so I guess it's my turn coming up. And then like you watch the commercials, and then like you see there's been 2 commercials, probably one more, and like then another commercial, and then they come back, and then you see. So I had what's known as an IRF, I think. It's those little earpieces that like the Secret Service wear, and you see them in news people too. It's usually got a little curly cord that comes off the back of their ear and goes into a little battery pack. Well, that's that's so the studio and the audio engineers and everyone back in the television engineering studio, or the producer, whoever that's on that feedback loop, can talk to you or can talk to the host or whatever. So when I was doing it in radio, or prior to that, if you're on the air and they need you to keep going, the person will be in your ear and they'll go, keep stretching it. We need about another 5 or 10 minutes out of this, or whatever it was, right? So you'd kind of have to process that while you're talking. And that's a skill you develop on radio, right? You kind of be able to do 1,000 things at once. And you can do what's called vamping. You can just kind of talk without talking. Right? Just like, oh, and so it's another lovely day as we look into things, and like that kind of thing. You just keep talking and like to fill time. Well, that's what that little thing is for. It tells you like, okay, you're next or coming up on whatever. And so I'm on this feedback loop, and I'm waiting, and the engineer's like, okay, Orpheus you're gonna be coming up here in another 30 seconds. We're gonna get ready. We've got those other people, and like one was in like a completely different part of the world or something, like from the BBC or some nonsense like that. One was from like somewhere in LA, and I was like in another part of the country entirely, and I don't even know where the damn studios were for Court TV. I'm assuming they were in New York City or something, whatever. So I'm staring at the camera. They turn on these bright lights, and it's like, and here we go, back in 5, 4, 3. And by the way, they don't really say 2, 1 when you're doing TV, just in case you come back a little too early. Anyway, so and here we go. And first, and you get to see yourself on a monitor, right? So I saw Nancy Grace pop up, and then Nancy Grace, not Nancy Diamond. I knew I would eventually sort it out. And I see her come up on the screen, and then I see her talking about the thing, and we've got with us Orpheus from W blah 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 in the local area. He's been covering the trial the entire time. And Orpheus, why don't you give us your take? And like, so I start talking, but the problem is it's that delay, right? So
Remember you.
So yeah,
Here some time ago, huh?
dude, you
All right,
need.
take a look.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
got
really
something
are
for me?
in serious need of a
Picked this
dentist,
up off the
bro.
street, no doubt.
Yeah, you pick your teeth up off the street, no doubt. Anyway, so it's suddenly that thing where like I've got that delay, and I'm like listening for a second, and I see her on the monitor like mouthing mouthing the
Now
question.
leave it near the
So like
campfire.
is it like, and then all of a sudden I hear it a couple seconds later. So I'm like, yeah, you know, and here's what I think of this. And then another head pops up on the screen, right? And it's whoever from some other radio station in New York or whatever. And like, and what do you think about this? Do you agree with what Orpheus said? And of course, there's that little delay too for them. Like, you know, you know, I think this. And then they bring another person in, and it's, you know, oh, and we've got so and so who's an expert, whatever, for this. And they say, and what do you think of it, right? And then they start engaging all three of us with the host, so trying to get us to kind of play off each other and maybe even argue a little bit. Although there had to have been a problem with the satellite system that day, because suddenly everyone has this delay. And I have had this nightmare of just this happening on the air, because it's happened lightly to me a couple times. Like they cut to you in the field, and it's just that little delay. Yeah, that's right, I'm here. Right, okay. And that's why you normally hear them say, yeah, that's right, when they're out in the field. That's very common, because they're like, suddenly it's like in their earpiece. Oh, and blah, blah, blah. Right? So you're like, yeah, that's right. Anyway, so it had happened to me lightly a couple of times before, but never this bad. This was bad. Like it was distracting. Like I couldn't focus, because they're all on different delays too. So you got like the studio for Court TV, and she would ask a question and it would take a second, and then someone would try to cut in and like tell you that you're wrong or whatever, but that's on a delay too. So you're midway into the next sentence when they're like, no. And so you have to like stop what you're thinking and go back and be like, what did I just say? Oh crap. Like, and then it just starts to snowball. So like, I think it was the worst for me, or I just wasn't used to it as much. Cause again, most of these other people that were on this were like, I'd seen them on other news stations doing this kind of thing before. And I, besides the interviews and then the one other time on Court TV, it was like a couple weeks before. I was so not used to this, and so it's like I start sweating. I could feel my ears start to burn, and I watched it later because I got a copy of it, and like my ears turned bright red on it because I started getting all flustered and embarrassed. And this is during a time like I had the anxiety and all that stuff, but I wasn't medicated for it at all. And so I'm full on having like this quiet panic attack on the air. And so I'm trying to hide it, but there's like sweat dripping down my face and everything. And Nancy's like, okay, because like the engineer notices it, and he's like, Orpheus, we see you're having a little bit of trouble. We're gonna cut to a commercial and come back in a couple minutes. And Nancy's like, okay, and so we're gonna go to a commercial break, and we'll be right back. And immediately, like, two assistants come running in off the side, and like one of them's got a makeup palette and like some, a makeup palette and some foundation, right, to kind of like get rid of the oil and the sweat. And there's another one who's got like a couple bottles of water, and then there's a third person who's like, "Are you doing okay? Is there anything we can get for you?" kind of thing. It went on like that for another like 15 minutes after that, and the delay never got any better. I tried to tell myself, like, no, I'm not going to let this affect me. I'm just going to try to do it. Yeah, so if this had tried to been some sort of audition tape for something, unfortunately, that wouldn't have worked, because I ended up looking like a total idiot on this thing. Now, I got the point across to everybody, right? I sounded like I knew what I was talking about, but it was just like the whole time I'm like, So yeah, if any of you ever have to go on the air for something like that, I'm sorry. It can be harsh, man. It can be very difficult to deal with. And that's testament. I had been on the air at that point for about 5 years, 6 years, so it's not like I was a newbie, right? I'd been doing this stuff for a while, and it flustered the hell out of me. I had no idea what I was doing, and you learn every day. That's kind of how life goes. Anyway, we will see you next time here on Orpheus Plays. That has been the... Excuse me? I don't even know what that means, bro. Guess what? A little... Oops, I am sorry about that. Trigger finger. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God, I forget this is the town where everyone goes crazy if you beat someone up. Oh, no! No. Anyway, this has been Orpheus Plays, playing Red Dead Online as I flee for my life. We'll see you on the next one. Stay good, treat yourself well, and I hope you have an awesome day. Bye!